And we are like,
hello and welcome to today's after church tea time. A little later because of technical problems, but now we are all here. And I welcome you all to today's discussion from the wonderful sermon from Adam and Brian about life purpose and living your purpose is living your true self. Mm-hmm. And I would like to invite you, Mianne and Gabby are here with us today to share with us your insights about this sermon and what was very insightful and what resonated the most with you.
Hello. So what goes up for me first is really just by being you, you're already doing you. Like this example of Adam's son, that he was also living his purpose by like maybe triggering people or like pointing just by being himself. And yeah, that felt for me relieving in a way, because somewhere I thought like, okay, life purpose, you always have to do something or focus on your career, but you can just also just be who you are, because you are created for a purpose. And so the way you do things, or the way you live, and who you are is already giving so much. So I love that.
Yes, that was very beautiful and kind of relaxing. And your purpose is just being you and relaxing into your true self and going here deeper and deeper, like they shared with the teaching of unionism and like they shared their experiences in life. Like also Laurentio and Alexandra shared, they do not want to sugarcoat it, but there can be challenges, and these challenges in truth make the way to your true self and also to your purpose, and that makes it kind of also beautiful because you kind of see who you truly are and what you really love. Like Brian said, they just love to love people, and it's the most beautiful things for them to love people and just go where God guides them and love people.
Yeah, I loved that. That's something that I've been healing through a lot. It's just like reflecting on my life experience and deepening into who I am and who I've been growing into throughout my life experiences. Very similar to kind of what they were sharing is that I've kind of grown up around neurodiversity for my whole life. I have two cousins who are on the spectrum that I grew up with in childhood, and I volunteered tutoring other students with different neurodiverse backgrounds when I was in high school. And in college, I studied special education. So I worked predominantly with students and adults with autism spectrum, or what were classified as like emotional behavior disturbances, which is just kind of the umbrella term for we don't really know what's going on with them. So that's what I've kind of been through in my life, just honing my skills of communication and learning how to love people who may need to be loved very differently or may need completely different support than what you're used to like providing, if that makes sense. And so listening to their sermon really helped me kind of have a deeper appreciation for the experiences that I've had and how they've shaped me and allowed me to go deeper into kind of embodying my authentic self and seeing all of those as kind of beautiful learning opportunities, right? As they were sharing, like, you know, looking back on it, it's like, oh man, like that was so easy or so compassionate, even though in the moment you're like, why is this so hard? Like, it doesn't feel easy when you're doing it. But similarly to what they shared, like once I started, going through this body of work and studying unionism and learning the mirror exercise and practicing the mirror exercise, I saw many, many, many areas in my life changing really drastically, of just like going from being like pretty resistant in some spaces and not understanding why I was having the experiences that I was having, to really being able to step back and see them as the perfect opportunity for me to heal something in my life and in consciousness. And so it was just like very soothing for me as I was listening to the sermon, of just being able to really appreciate what I've been through and understand like how my life has shaped me. Was really beautiful.
Yeah, that's also the part that I resonated the most. Is one of the things that I always remember the most of, like when looking at life purpose classes, how like even the smallest thing that didn't seem to be very important at the time, it kind of like there's this aha moments where the piece falls. I was like, oh, this is why I learned this. And it's very cool to see that like you can put it all together and it serves a purpose that you learned that. Even like working experiences. Like I always come up with my experience, like being a secretary for many years back in Buenos Aires, and like through my volunteer, a lot of what I've learned being around different companies and different people and seeing different teams work and such, like kind of like gives me a vision too. And it's very cool to see that kind of like little by little take shape or unfold. Yeah.
Yes, I like what you said, and I resonate with that too, that this sermon from Adam and Brian helped to kind of just share their experiences and how God already was in their life, also before they had the teachings of unionism.
They were kind of like being shaped without knowing.
Exactly how Adam shared how he raised his child, their child, at the beginning in the physical alone, but in truth they were always together, and how he helped him to become this, how he said, the cool guy in the storm, or he's the patient. Kind of, he had to learn a lot of patience. And kind of when you are in a crisis and you don't know what's going on, you can come to him and he said, hey, okay.
Yeah, and also I loved how he was sharing through his experience this becoming more creative too, because he was getting to the conclusion that even if a person is having trouble communicating, there's always a way to, like, communication is very almost like natural. It's impossible that you're not communicating one way or another. So I
you
loved
just
it.
need the key. And it's very beautiful how Adam saw in his life how he was perfectly prepared for his purpose and what he can give and what God through him would like to give, and how he can now love in a very deep way. He always finds communication, and he's always patient.
Yeah, that's kind of like very cool. It was a very beautiful sermon. I loved and like hearing from his side of the experience at this time.
Exactly.
Yeah, I also love that he shared how in the end it's also for his third frame, like this patience thing, that is also his gift to his union. And then after that, a lot about life purpose, because I really focus a lot on life purpose, and I translate a lot like, oh, this is also for my union, like this, the same welcome, like in a different way. And after that, it's really so much in one. So you don't have to think, oh, I'm not spending time on my twin flame or my union, because you're always doing that by just focusing on what feels good for you. And if you really focus on your life purpose, you're going deeper with your twin flame, and you're training yourself, and it was really cool. And for myself, really creative, also communication a lot, and in all these different ways. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's so important to really be able to tap into that creativity. And I think when we're kind of embodying that authenticity is when that creative flow happens, right? But we have to create space for ourselves to be able to tap into that creative potential. And I was laughing at just how perfectly like the card reading went along with the sermon today, because like I think the first card Drake drew was "Don't dim your light to fit in," and that is like very much what people who perceive themselves as different naturally do, right? They're like, oh, I'm very different here. I better not shine because then everyone will know that I'm different, right? But it's very much the opposite of what we're really being called to do, and just understanding that we do have to like trust the path, right? We have to honor our divinity and let our light shine, even if our light is completely different than the people around us, right? Because that is embodying our life purpose, and that is like how to move forward and stay in that flow with God, is just accepting and really exemplifying the qualities that he gave us. And yeah, just trusting that we will be protected in that, and we are completely safe to fully be ourselves. That's what we're called to do, and how we can serve God and serve our life purpose ultimately.
Yes, the card reading also woke me up a bit. Like, yeah, you created if you created different, then there's a purpose for that. It's not like, oh, I should hide, because God created you to actually bring something new to people. If everyone is trying to fit in and being the same, then that would become really boring. Like the same if you mix all these paint colors and it's one color, then there's nothing else. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That too, and it was reminded me of what Lorenzo and Alexandra were sharing also in the introduction, like how important this piece is, of like how it helped them to, for instance, to like reach harmonious union. And I know that this was the case for Adam and Brian too. Like they met each other in the community through their volunteering. So it's very cool to see how like the closest you come to like living your life purpose, your, like Gabi was saying, what you were created to be, and actually kind of like brings you closer to everything you desire to, like, including your twin flame. That's also what kind of like the case for us too. I feel like it was for many people in the community. The deeper they went in this line, there are a lot of wonderful things that starting to
I popped up when you started volunteering, right?
Yeah, well, kind of like when I officially took on the a little bit of a leading role. I was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna lead a discussion group, and boop, there he was.
I was then
in disguise.
I felt in my heart, I have to go there. There's something so wonderful for me.
That was so cool. Yeah. And you still remember that the first thing that we worked through was an upset with your couch?
No, that was not the first thing. You just remember all
that's always remember that one, but never mind. But yeah, it was very...
I was shy at the beginning. I had to heal through. Like also Adam shared that he had these blocks in communication, also in just expressing himself truly and without fear, and just without being so shy. I had to heal through that too. And the teaching of unison helped me here tremendously. I was able to heal through the challenges in communicating. Like Gabby said, in the moment it feels like, oh my God, what is going on?
I'm gonna die.
I'm gonna die. But in truth, when I look back now, it was the most compassionate way. And in truth, it was so fast and compassionate and so safe. I remember today in our coaching with our coach, I realized how safe I am always in all the challenges I go through. I felt so safe. It can nothing happen in my life anymore where I'm not safe with the teaching of unionism. And realizing that and relaxing deeper into this truth brings a lot of peace and joy. Like they shared it, makes fun when they kind of expand in their purpose and they come closer to each other as twin flames, like Liane said. Yeah, it helps also then in the union that kind of they need that there are two parts and living a life purpose and truth. You're always with your twin flame, even when you are doing something your heart guides you to do.
Yeah, there's been a huge difference just for me in that area of just healing around expressing myself since I found this work versus before that. There's naturally a lot of challenges that come up with the work that I do. But this year, especially, I went through really healing a lot around expressing myself and standing in the truth, regardless of how much contrast it caused in my environment. And that manifested as like a big, ugly public argument, I guess, disagreement with a parent that brought about a lot of healing. And happened another time with a coworker this year. That was this huge, ugly public thing where I was really challenged. Like, are you going to stand in your truth? Are you going to just embody love here, essentially, is what it came down to. And in the past, like I can look at that situation and see like how much I've grown in that space of just loving myself and standing in peace and watching as like all of my support flooded in, whether it be like other people who witnessed it, like coming and speaking on my behalf, or just like, offering me support and comfort like after the fact. And those are situations that I've been in many times before, but have not felt that deep inner peace before and received all of that support to like get through, and at the end of the day, like it was this beautiful healing thing that happened and not the scary situation that it looked like when I was presented with it or when I was in it. And just understanding that like what Adam said is just like how that deep inner peace changes your life, how it like adds so much love and compassion and like safety and protection when you realize that like you're not without God, you're not without your support, you're never in a situation where that's not accessible to you. And so that was just like really comforting to kind of reflect on and see just how much I've grown using this work and claiming my support and working with my coach and like putting all of these pieces together to be able to grow so much more than I've ever been capable of before in my life. Just having all of the support of this community and of God and all of my healing to like back me up in whatever contrast I'm facing, right? Which is super awesome and fun to like really sit back and reflect on.
I think for me, it helped me a lot to reflect back on my life and see where there was already God. And yeah, you learn that God is always that you would, yeah, that helped me a lot, like to just spend time and to reflect back on all these things and putting these puzzle pieces, like, oh, that's because of this and that, and it helps really getting also stronger in your life purpose and your foundation, and doing what you love, because you know that you've been prepared all along, and it doesn't come from nowhere. So especially if you're stepping into something new and you're like, oh, what's this? Like you're suddenly like being called to do a new job, and you can think, oh, I was already prepared for this, and just have trust in that you're guided perfectly.
Yeah, I would like to invite the audience, if you have any questions or you would like to share something with us, you can do that in the comments, and yeah, just do it now. Then we have time maybe to talk about it too. And yeah, overall, I loved kind of the flow in the whole service today. Also, the meditation from Ryan was kind of straight to the point. It was the perfect preparation, as I felt. So yeah, I came out of this meditation. Yeah, just do you. just be you and do you. That's enough, and that's how it should be. And this feeling was very nice. I felt very grounded and kind of very motivated to just be me. And kind of reading kind of was so and the next kind of, don't dim your light. Ask for help if when you need help, because that's the normal thing in life. Nobody does it alone. It's always the normal thing in life to ask for help and to receive help. And go through can come, and like Debbie shared, when she had these situations where she really chose to stand in her peace and in her truth, and then kind of people around her pick the energy up, like also Adam and Brian shared. Sometimes you communicate just with energy. And so she communicated with energy. I stay in my truth. I feel I'm in peace, and I just spread love, and people around her just supported her. God, through the people around her, supported her. And that's totally fine. God can support us through whom he can support us. And it can be the person next to us.
Yeah, or the person you least expect.
I have these experiences too, as I have challenges in my purpose, as I choose to always grow, because in truth that feels the most, that feels the best to grow and to change, even when I'm in the change. And sometimes I stand before the change and I think, oh no, I don't like to. But when I just choose to let go of this resistance, that comes kind of naturally with learning something new or having a change. That's kind of, I have that since I'm a child, but I just choose to let go of it. And then it's kind of, then comes the joy with the whole situation. Okay, yeah, there are feelings that sometimes are not nice, but with the teaching and also with my coach, our coach, I have always the best support to go through challenges, what we already shared, that really can be intense in the moment. But with that, it's always kind of easy to go through it and very compassionate. And then you learn kind of to be this more sensitive in your communication, that is kind of in your purpose, that you get more sensitive
that you can improve upon.
Yeah, with your own communication with yourself, what you like doing, like Liana said, do just what you like to do. That's a purpose. Then I realize, I like to do that. Okay, I like to work a lot today. Okay, that's today what I should do. I just love to work a lot today. Perfect. Then I just do that. And this is the energy I pick up. Okay, it's very easy for me to work today. Then I just do it. And you can then also communicate with other people, also with the energy. And this is something that can improve more and more. And this is a very cool way of communication, I think, and I experienced. Makes life very juicy. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you brought up that sensitivity piece, right? Because as we're purifying our consciousness and as we are choosing to work through our blocks and choosing to go deeper in love, it feels like we're automatically becoming more sensitive to those things. And like we're picking up on things that we were missing before, right? It's kind of like how when you like purify your diet, you become more sensitive to things that are really salty or things that like have very like maybe more subtle flavors that you never noticed before as you purify kind of your palate, essentially. It's like the same thing is happening as we purify our consciousness. We're suddenly like, we feel very deeply if somebody's words are not matching their energy, or if like somebody is hurting, even if they say nothing, right? You pick up on that a lot more easy, or you feel kind of the energy that people don't communicate, and you're able to kind of connect with people who struggle to communicate because you can kind of feel where they're at and help give them words to figure out what it is going on, you know? And so I love that you picked up like that piece of it, because I was also like feeling that as we were going through. And especially with Ryan's meditation, I had like chills and was able to kind of pull things into the forefront of my mind that I realized I was holding on to, but that I didn't realize I was holding on to until I started connecting in with that divinity. And then those things automatically just came up and were like, hey, hey, I'm still here. So yeah, that's just really, it was a beautiful meditation. Absolutely. I agree. It was very healing for me as well. And I loved the piece about when they said embodying peace and love and raising your vibration automatically benefits everyone around you, and how they've noticed the difference with their son when they are going deeper in love and embodying their life purpose and embodying like their harmonious twin flame union, and the effects on the people around them, especially their family. I've definitely seen that in my own life as well. Of just like, I myself had little to no contact with the majority of my family prior to starting this work. And it was like slowly one by one, like I started hearing from them, even like my more distant family. And so I absolutely see the truth in that, of like, you're not just healing for you, you're healing for everyone connected to you. You're healing the collective consciousness, as well as, you know, whatever's being presented in your environment, because at the end of the day, we're all walking each other home. And as we choose to grow and choose to embody more love and more divine truth, we make it safe for everyone around us to do the same, right? So that was really, really that message that they shared really touched me, of just that love being the teacher, and whether we think we're like teaching or not, we are automatically inviting everyone around us to learn as we heal and go deeper in love.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. We've been seeing the same with like our son Dante, and like I resonated a lot when Aram was sharing how they had to find their own unique way to help their son communicate and find words to, or like ways to convey like what feeling was going on, so that they could better support him, and how easier it became with teaching. And like, even if their son doesn't practice the mirror exercise on a daily basis, ours doesn't either. But the teaching, like the support of the teaching itself, is extremely helpful in finding the best way to reach to each individual. Like you were saying, Gabi, you like we communicate more without words than what we do with words, like body language, energetically speaking, like Brian was mentioning in the sermon too. So it's very cool to see that you can kind of like pick up what the person in front of you is needing, and finding a way to kind of like build that bridge regardless whether they are open to the teaching or not yet, you can still extend love in that place. And yeah, I feel like that's perhaps the most valuable thing of like allowing ourselves to follow this path and align with our purpose, in that like sharing love in whatever way we feel guided to do. And yeah, we kind of had a similar experience yesterday. We may share, like with your grandma, she speaks Czech.
Yes.
Doesn't speak a word of English, doesn't speak a word, like it speaks very little German, I believe. Like very, very little. I speak very little German.
No, you speak more.
Well, we're getting there. And he picked it up, like she needed help working through something with her, like his mom, her daughter. And we have to find a way, kind of like through my mother-in-law's blog and like his grandma's upset and kind of like find how we, and then it came to me very easy. It was like, use the Google translator.
Yeah.
And it's like she can still read Czech. And we were kind of like able to bring what everybody needed and honor everybody's choice also. It was a very cool experience to see.
Yeah, it's like Gabi shared, you bring healing here. Because you can bring healing to the people you're connected, and I'm very connected with my grandmother since my birth.
Yeah.
We were always able to speak with each other without words since I'm a child. She always picked up what I needed without me saying something, and so it's still the same.
Kind of like the other way around.
The other way around.
You pick up what she needs without her now having to say anything.
We have this connection still.
I was just going to say that intention behind it is really the key to unlock any communication barrier, right? It's like I've been a teacher for many, many years, but I have only been a parent for a few years, and like it's really kind of changed my perspective on what loving fully really means. Because, you know, every teacher has had a difficult student, right? And so it's about like, are you going to love it fully? Are you going to continue chipping away until you figure out what it is that person or child needs? You know, like, are you going to continue extending love until you've figured out like what the block is? And a lot of people in my profession are just like, oh, that person's too hard, that kid's too difficult. Like eventually they just give up because they try this and they try that, and this doesn't work, and that doesn't work, and this doesn't work, and that doesn't work. And I've seen that as like a mirror with my own inner work, right? If I'm like working through something and I've tried this and I've tried that and I've tried this and I've tried that, and it's still like not working, or I'm not able to kind of find the healing in it. It's about that consistently just choosing to love it, right? And that's something that, like, as a parent, it's like, well, you can't just ship your kid off. So you're gonna have to choose unconditional love. You're gonna have to keep trying until you figure it out, right? It's like when your child is upset about something, like you just keep trying until you figure out a way to like help them soothe, to help them like come back into love. And it doesn't matter how long it takes, because that's your child, right? Like we sometimes forget to operate our inner work the same way, of just like we give up on ourselves, or we get frustrated and like walk away from it instead of just sitting with it and loving it fully and bringing it back into alignment. And so that was another piece that came up for me. It was just like the intention behind loving fully. Like, are you going to choose to sit with it until you heal it? Or are you going to give up and, you know, walk away from it only for it to come up again later?
Yeah, that reminds me, like, you know, in your heart that how it should be, or like it should be healed. So that motivates you really to keep trying and keep persisting. And giving up is like, for also causing off that feeling, because you just know, and you know your life purpose, you know your direction, and what is in your heart, just making that come true in a way, in a reality.
Yeah, we had it too with Dante, our son. I had here upsets too. It was for me was new since Deborah and we came 1 year ago. So I had to heal here too. And like Debbie said, yeah, you cannot send the kid away when you do everything.
Well, you were kind of able to. I don't. I'm like legally bound to you until he's 18, so I cannot.
Yeah, you
ship
go
him.
through that. Or when you're kind of, I don't know what to do anymore.
But yeah, like again, it was challenging for us in a sense. But like you were sharing, and like we persisted, and we simply kind of like broke through, and we found a way. Just like Adam did with his son, or like their son, and they still work at it upon coming into a union and harmonious union, and like it will continue to be so.
And the dream come true of a divine family, like Jan said.
Yeah, exactly.
Dream come true.
Exactly. Well, that's kind of like what you're building. You're kind of like chipping away at the challenge. You're getting like Jeff and Shaleia put it, grind it for whatever that purpose is, and at the same time, you're kind of like building the life of your dreams. Even though there are moments where it doesn't quite look like that, I always love that they say it's not a breakdown; it's a breakthrough. Even though it looks like a breakdown, it's actually you're building something very beautiful. But yeah, patience and persistence and a lot of compassion. And yeah, I feel that's like, yeah, I'm kind of like done with that.
You feel complete?
Yeah.
Yeah, I start to feel complete too. I would like to ask you, Gabby and Vienna, would you like to share something, or you feel complete too?
Feel complete.
Just as Deb was talking about Dante, it made me connect into like a memory that I had with my son when he was a baby, and really where that patience and persistence came in for me was when he was born. He was premature and very colicky, and he just cried all the time. He barely slept, he barely ate. Nobody could figure out like what was going on or like what was wrong. And so like after so much time where like you've tried everything, it's not getting better, you're not sleeping, he's not sleeping, nobody's happy, like it's like you at some point you're just like it no longer matters, and you finally find like a calm in the storm almost, where you're just like, I'm just going to keep loving because that's all I can do. There's literally nothing else I can do. I'm just going to like keep loving him and like keep trying to figure out what's going on and da 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 da. And it was like I had that moment of breakthrough where like at long last, after we had like accepted like this is just where we're at and we're going to do the best we can and we're just going to like keep loving and keep, you know, moving forward, it was like the solution, you know, presented itself, and we figured out that he had a very severe like lip and tongue tie, which was not even something we knew to look for. And so he was able to have like surgeries to help with it, and then like things kind of calmed down after that. But it really took a lot of just like unconditional love and compassion and like acceptance to arrive at that place where the solution could be presented. And sometimes like in my life, I've been on that brink of like, I don't know if I can take any more of this, and like had to make that choice of like giving up or persisting and loving all the way through, you know. And I think like a lot of people in life get to that point, that breaking point, and give up. So the thing that's just on my heart to share is just that there's always a solution. there's always a way through. You're never alone, and you're safe just to love it fully and continue moving forward, even when it feels impossible, right? Adam and Brian said something to the effect of, it's easy to be yourself even when it feels hard, right? It's easy to love even when it feels hard. It's easy to like embody peace even when it feels hard. So just not tripping over the obstacles and choosing to move through them, and really keeping on until you do arrive in peace, and just love.
Perfect. Perfect. Perfect for the end, I feel.
Closing.
Perfect closing.
I think you were looking for the word.
Yes, exactly. You picked it up. Yeah, that's a perfect ending.
Got you, baby.
Yes, I know. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Leanne. Thank you, Gabby. And thank you, Deborah. Deborah too.
And thank you for everyone joining.
Yeah, thank you for everyone joining, and see you next week. Bye.
Bye.